Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Puppet Post. Today's story is Coyote and the Laughing Butterflies. This is a Native American tale, and it's based on this tale, and it's a story about a coyote. Now, in this story, they talk about butterflies, so I hope you brought your imagination with you today, because you're going to need to imagine a whole lot of butterflies, even though you're only going to see one butterfly. Story starts like this. Coyote was a very lazy animal. Coyote's favorite thing was to sleep. But one day, Mrs. Coyote came to see Coyote, and she came up to him and she said, "Coyote, we are out of salt. I need you to go and get salt." Coyote said, "Oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I am so tired." No. You need to go now and get the salt. If you don't go, I am going to nip your tail. All right. I don't want anything to happen to my tail. I will go get the salt. All right, grab the salt bag and go get it. All right, I'll do that. So Coyote went and grabbed the salt bag and put it over his head. And let's put it over his head this way. It's a good old salt bag for carrying the salt in. And threw it on his back and headed out to go get the salt. Now, it was a long walk to where the salt was, and Coyote was a little bit bored, and as he was going, he ran into his friend Lizard and listened. "Hello," Coyote said. "Hi, Lizard." "Say, I was just inventing a new game. Would you like to learn my new game?" Well, Coyote liked to sleep a lot, but he also liked playing games. So he said, "Okay, I'll play your new game. How does it work?" And the Lizard explained his game was about hiding, that Coyote would hide his eyes, and then the Lizard would go and hide, and it was Coyote's job to find him. "Oh, that sounds like fun. Okay." So Coyote hid his eyes, and Lizard scampered off into the rocks to hide. Well, when he was hidden, Lizard called out, "Okay, come and find me." And so Coyote started to look for him. Coyote jumped from rock to rock. He looked here, he looked there, he looked everywhere. But no matter where he looked, he could not find the Lizard. And then, as he jumped one time, the bag fell in front of him. "Oh, the bag. Hey, Lizard, you win. I give up. You're the winner. I've got to go get salt, or my wife's going to bite me on the tail." And so Coyote put the bag back over his back and went off to look for the salt. Well, that Lizard loved that game so much, he shared it with all the other lizards. And have you ever noticed when you come across a lizard, lots of times they run off and hide. They're still playing the game. So Coyote walked on, but as he walked, he got more and more tired, until finally he was so tired he didn't even think he could take another step. So he took the bag off his head, laid down, and pretty soon he was sound asleep. Now, this is where I need you to use your imagination, because just then there was a whole lot of butterflies flying over. Not one butterfly, not 10 butterflies, but thousands of butterflies. And the front butterfly said to all the other butterflies, "Hey, you want to play a trick on Coyote?" And all the butterflies said yes. And so she said, "Follow me." And so they all swooped down, and every single butterfly grabbed hold of one of Coyote's hairs, and then they lifted him up, and they flew him back to his house. Then they went back, and they each grabbed hold of the bag, and they lifted it up, and they flew it back to his house. And then they flew off to watch and see what happened. Well, it wasn't very long before Mrs. Coyote came walking along, and she saw Coyote laying there sleeping. "Hey, why are you sleeping? Where is the salt?" She saw that the salt bag was empty, and Mrs. Coyote got mad, and she did exactly what she said. She went right up, grabbed hold of Coyote's tail, and chomped down. "Ow!" said Coyote. And that's the first time Coyote ever howled. And Mrs. Coyote said, "Coyote, you need to go get the salt. Go get it now." Okay, I'll do it. Sorry. And so he grabbed the salt bag. But the whole time he grabbed the salt bag, he was wondering how he got back home. This was very strange. And the butterflies were laughing about the joke they played on Coyote. So Coyote went back. Now the salt was on the far side of a lake, and it was a long way around the lake. But Coyote was determined to get some salt. So this time he ran all the way. When he got to the edge of the lake, though, it was a ways around the edge of the lake. So he started thinking, maybe it would be faster if I just swam across the lake. So Coyote jumped into the water and started swimming across the lake. But it was a long way across that lake. And by the time Coyote made it to the other side, he was exhausted. He took off the bag of salt, or the bag for the salt, and he laid down for just a minute. And of course, he fell asleep. Now it just so happened that all those butterflies once again happened to be flying by, and the lead butterfly said to the other butterfly, "Hey, you want to play another joke on Coyote?" And of course, they all said yes. And so those thousands of butterflies flew down, and once again, they each grabbed hold of a single hair, lifted him up, and flew him home. Then they went back, got his bag, and laid it down, and then they hid out to see what would happen. Well, of course, it wasn't very long when Mrs. Coyote came walking along and spotted Coyote sleeping. She was angry. What? How did I get here? I was over by the lake. "Coyote, where is the salt? You need to go get the salt." Yeah. I'm going now. Sorry about that. I'm on my way. "You better." And so Coyote grabbed the salt bag, not wanting another nip to his tail, threw it over his shoulder, and as quickly as he could, he ran back to where the lake was, and the salt was on the far side of the lake. He didn't want to take any chances of falling asleep by swimming through the lake and getting too tired. He ran around the outside of the lake, and he made it to where the salt was. He took the bag off his shoulders. He opened up the bag. He grabbed a mouthful of salt and reached inside to drop the salt off. But it was so cool inside that bag, and so nice and dark inside the bag, that he couldn't help himself. He fell asleep. Well, it just so happened that there were a whole lot of butterflies flying over, the very same butterflies. And once again, the lead butterfly said to the other butterflies, "Hey, you want to play a trick on Coyote?" And they all said, "Yeah!" So once again, they flew down, and they each grabbed one of Coyote's hairs, lifted him up, and carried him home. But this time, the lead butterfly felt they'd played enough tricks. So this time she said to all those 1,000 butterflies, "Hey, everybody grab some salt and put it in Coyote's bag." So all those thousands of butterflies all grabbed salt and put it in the bag, and they filled the bag full of salt. Then, once again, careful so as not to spill the salt, they picked it up and took it back to Coyote's house. And then they all hid out to see what would happen. Well, Mrs. Coyote once again came walking along and saw Coyote sleeping. But this time, she saw the bag, and it was full of salt. And Mrs. Coyote said, "Coyote!" Oh no, how did I get it? I'm gonna go get the salt. I know the salt. Yes, you got a full bag. You got so much salt. I'm not even sure how we're going to eat it all. I did? Yes, it's laying right there. Oh, I did. Yes, how would I do that? Oh, I got lots of salt. Yes. You certainly did. As a matter of fact, there's more salt than we need. What are we going to do with all that salt? Well, you know how I said Coyote likes to sleep and Coyote likes to play games? Well, there's another thing Coyote likes. I know. Let's have a party and we'll give the salt away. Great idea. We'll have a salt party. And so Coyote and his wife threw a huge party. There was enough salt to give all the animals some salt. Why, I bet you can think of animals that came to the party. There were rabbits, there were deers, there were lizards, and of course, they even invited the butterflies. And at the end of the party, everybody got some salt to take home, and they all were delighted with their party favor. As for Coyote, his wife said, "You are the most wonderful coyote ever." I know, said Coyote. But now, I think I'm going to go back to sleep. And so, Coyote went back to sleep. Mrs. Coyote went back to work. As for the butterflies, well, they're still out there flying around. And every so often, have you ever watched butterflies and noticed how they're flying along and then they kind of dart around? Well, that's because they're laughing. They're remembering the trick, the joke they played on Coyote. And that, my friends, is the story of Coyote and the Laughing Butterflies. And thank you for enjoying the story. See you next week for another puppet post. Bye, everybody.